welcome to the PBHS Edge Championship round. I'm on God. I'm joined by, or I'm Rashab. I'm joined by on God, Mr.
Again.
Wood, Mr. Woodward, and Mr. Ellis. But we do have some familiar faces here. We got the previous guys from PBHS Edge. We got FaZe, Emmanuel, Essay, Osezi, and no one other than JP. So getting straight into it, we're gonna give our recaps for our teams. For the Ravens, obviously a disappointing season. We had such high hopes coming into the season with a really good looking roster. The injuries to J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Marcus Peters in preseason, really hurt. And then, coming into the season, losing Lamar for like the last 5 weeks, losing Marlon Humphrey and a bunch of just other key players just like derailed our season completely. We can only do so much with the players that we had, but you got to give credit where credit's due to John Harbaugh for absolutely making something out of nothing, pulling practice squad players off the streets and, just being able to muster, some courage for this team to go out and play well against teams like the Rams, the Packers, and overall, show some heart. But, then again, those aren't the players that you want on the field. And, next season, I think it's going to be our season, getting the entire roster back together. So yeah.
For my Washington football team, same thing can be said for them as it was for the Ravens. We had a lot of hope coming into the season, a lot of excitement, and it was just met with more disappointment and injuries than we thought. As like early on, this defense, we got punched in our mouth, and it just looked like we were lost. Even like if you go to the previous episodes, like week 1 through 5, Mr. Woodward, he kept saying like, "You think this week they're gonna go off? You have to expect them to go off this week again and again and again," and it never happened. And with all those misfires, injuries kept piling up, losing big names like Chase Young, and signings like William Jackson not panning out as quickly as we thought they would, or just failing to adjust at a good speed for the team. And then on the offensive side of the ball, just it looked like Heineke, we thought he could be the answer. He had his moments where he was playing great, and then there's other moments where he was just making backup QB decisions where he looked like he is a backup QB. Everyone calls him. And we saw the people we drafted on the offensive side of the ball weren't too helpful for Terry McLaurin, like De'Ami Brown. We thought he'd be a great piece to help him in the slot, take some attention away from Terry McLaurin. And De'Ami Brown barely got I think he got under 20 catches this season. So obviously we need to readjust how we approach our offense and how we utilize people there. We came into the season with holes, and now we have more holes than we thought because linebacker is not going well. Offensive line has some issues, and our cornerback room because some of the people we have there aren't performing as well as we thought they would, and just a lot of excitement turned into disappointment very quickly for this team, finishing 7-9. I thought we would be 7-10 now because we had to add the extra loss, but just a lot of excitement was met with much disappointment with this team, and hopefully next season is different. But this team is like a broken record. Excitement is always met with disappointment. So maybe the new name would make it a difference. Maybe we can command some wins. I don't know, man.
Command some wins. Hey, that's pretty good. Washington. Yeah, I get it. It's good to be back here, man. Seeing everyone again, Mr. Woodward, Mr. Ellis. Seeing those guys is always brings a smile to my face. Being a Patriots fan, it was enjoyable. For the first half of the season, not the second half, but first half it was pretty good. Before I gotta say though, the bye week messed it up. The bye week definitely messed us up. The Bills matchup, the first one was just I got carried away. I definitely got carried away because Mr. Woodward, you already know I got carried away, man. Mac Jones threw the ball 3 times and we won, and we're like, oh my god, we own the Bills again. And no, that was not the case at all. Like I said, our bye week messed us up. It was always a bad matchup against the Bills in the playoffs because I knew they weren't going to go out like that. You can ask Emmanuel, you can ask everyone here that I was already predicting we were going to lose. I didn't think we were going to lose that bad, but I still thought we were going to lose. Man, our defense needs some work. Those guys, some of those old guys, man, need to go. And that's no disrespect to Hightower, McCourty, and all of them, but we need some speed on defense, and it was definitely shown in that Bills game. Everyone was just so slow. Offense, I think Mac had a good season. I just thought that McDaniels would have let him throw the ball more, but hopefully he takes that Raiders job because I cannot watch another 3rd and 15 screen pass because Mm. God, this it was a good season. It was a good season, but next year we hopefully better. We need a number one receiver. I forgot to mention that. My God. Um, and our tight ends was good. Hunter Henry, had a good year, but only touchdown dependent. Johnu Smith, we made him top five paid tight end just to do absolutely nothing. Hopefully, our next offensive coordinator can help with that. And yeah, it was a good season. But a first round playoff exit, I'm not used to that, but I gotta be used to more things now that Tom Brady isn't here. Emmanuel, another Ravens fan here. What's your thought, man, on the Ravens season? I gotta listen to this, man.
At least y'all made playoffs. This is the first time I'm used to us not making playoffs since Lamar's been our starter. Wow. I mean, I just gotta say it's great to be back. It feels good. Logging on, I had a smile on my face. I was like, wow, it really feels like I'm really back home. But it was a whirlwind of a season. I mean, but besides the last 6 games, we still found a way. Even through week 12, we were still the number one seed with all of our injuries and everything. I just feel like probably if we had Lamar Jackson throughout the whole season, I'd probably think we're a playoff team, and we probably could have won that division still, knowing that how close it came to a Week 16 game against the Bengals. Probably, yeah, for it to be that close, and we just lost it by that, and to still have an opportunity to make playoffs besides all the injuries we had, and knowing we only had 6 guys on our roster play all 17 games, it's just a milestone by Harbaugh. Deserves a lot of respect and a lot of credibility for what he did this season. I had some questionable calls with him, but sometimes you got to gamble when you got to gamble. You win some, you lose some. At the end of the day, I'm proud of them. I'm proud to see how my team fought, and it's just simple. We'll just run it back next year and come back for the AFC. I don't gotta say too much. JP can finish it off.
What's up, guys? It's been a long, long time. I'm so happy to be back here looking at everybody. It's been a long time we talked with Mr. Woodward, Mr. Ellis. I mean, I'm just having fun at this point. I mean, it's been a long time. I can't believe it. We're all on it together. But again, we had a disappointing season. Short injuries, this and that. Not an excuse. I mean, everybody gets injured. It's next man up. Practice squad. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, football is football. Like, same with basketball, same with baseball, same with every sport. Like, if someone goes down, like, you got to get ready. You should already have that mindset. Like, look, if Deshaun Elliott goes down, I'm next man up. Lamar goes down, I'm next man up. But again, like Chuck Clark said, we're not done yet. We'll be back next season. I'm not worried. Let everybody come back. Like Rashab said, like with this, I think next season is our season. I see this every year. SA will laugh at me. Everybody will laugh at me. But this year, like, sure, I can say I'm feeling it, but just you guys should think it through. Like J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Deshaun Elliott, L.J. Fort, Lonnie Stanley, like everybody will be back 100%, and we're gonna make the playoffs. I think divisional round, we'll win it, and we're just gonna go on and play. I mean, next year I see the Seahawks going good as well. I mean, a lot of people are iffy with Russell Wilson and stuff. I think he's gonna stay one more season with Pete Carroll, and he's gonna do his thing. But that's my take. But hey, we'll talk about that later on today. But yeah, that's just my take.
Kind of like what everybody said, honestly, what Manuel, Faison, SA, JP said, it's amazing to be here. It just takes you back to the back of Mr. Ellis' class, just watching highlights, just talking about football. Those days are like the best. So I'm just happy to be back. The Ravens had a interesting season to say the least. Coming out of training camp and preseason, we already had injuries to Gus, Marcus Peters, J.K. Dobbins, L.J. Fort, a whole bunch of key contributors to the team, and we're still 8-3. I think Lamar still led us to an 8-3 record. And then for the span of like the last 6 games, it's just loss after loss after. It always came down to the final play, which was kind of heartbreaking to see, but it was also admirable that John Harbaugh, even after the midst of so many injuries we get in the season, the team was fighting week in and week out. And that's the mentality I think they're going to bring into the next season. And I'm looking forward to, honestly, we have the 14th pick in the draft. When the Ravens picked that high up, you can see Marlon Humphrey was around that pick, Ronnie Stanley, amazing picks when we pick high, I'm excited for next season. So, yeah.
When I got that text last week from Mr. Ellis, I was like, oh, I'm going to get back on the show. I'm going to predict the Packers. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm finally gonna get that one conference championship one time, and I'm gonna pick it on this show on my time back. And I'm here a week later, one of the worst weeks of my life. I mean, there's playoff losses, you get blown out, you didn't really have a chance, but it's been a good season, but a disgusting end. Like a really, really enjoyable season for the Packers. But the way it had to end, with all that talk, with all that having to go, like after beating Arizona, all that drama came in, and even though we were still getting dubs, something poisoned that team, and in the end, I'll get to Rodgers later on, but it was depressing to see how we ended that season. Especially, we played better than the Niners. There's a reason we had the lead the whole time, but to lose that game, there's no one to blame but Rodgers. There's nobody else to blame but Rodgers. No, I blame defenses for almost every playoff loss. I think they're deserved, but this was a 10-point. I mean, you put up 10 points against the Niners. You just came back from having one of your best seasons. You had a week of rest, and you're gonna put up 10. It was a really, really disgusting end. But we'll get on to the conference championship picks now. But I do think he's staying on, and he's not gonna leave. He's not retiring. Devontae's staying. He's staying. I just think nothing's gonna end up with a chip with him. I don't think so.
That's it. Did you cry before this podcast, bro?
No, I mean I cried last night, but I've been good now.
I'm just checking on my friends, bro. It's okay.
I've handled it well.
Fun fact, Aaron Rodgers is 0-4 against the 49ers in the playoffs. So it's safe to say the 49ers do own Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. But getting into our first game, we got the Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now these two teams did meet up early in their seasons where the Bengals did best Patrick Mahomes, but that was in Cincinnati. But I think now when you look at this game, you saw how the Chiefs just rallied back. 13 seconds left. Matt Mahomes working his magic in a game where Josh Allen, Gabriel Davis were just absolutely dominating. And you come to think that Patrick Mahomes was able to lead the offense down with 13 seconds left, hitting to Travis Kelce and hitting that Tyreek Hill on that one long touchdown. Like, it's crazy. And we were dealing with the second-year quarterback in Joe Burrow, who has absolutely shocked everyone's expectations. But I'm just gonna say this one thing. Bengals are the future, Chiefs are in the present. I don't see Joe Burrow and his company knocking out playoff Pat Mahomes after what he did last week. Even Josh Allen couldn't stop him. So I'm convinced that Mahomes is gonna make another Super Bowl appearance. So I will take the Chiefs in this one, 41-33.
Oh, quick shout out to SA's Packers. After Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams posted that little last dance reference on their Instagram stories at the start of the season, I thought that was so hard. I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl, but here they are choking. MJ and Pippen never did that. Or they did, but they won
It's all
championships.
talk, good bro. It's all talk, man.
Yeah, at least MJ and Pippen won championships, unlike Rodgers and Adams.
Same with SA. They're just too much talk, man. It's okay.
We're still waiting on Lamar. His hands are barely right now.
It's okay.
There's nothing on his hand right now. So until then, I think we'll just wait for him.
Hey, you're sitting right next to me right here, bro.
Yeah, but at least it's a ring on my finger right now. I'm waiting for Lamar to get at least one, and then you can talk.
Yeah, from like 50 years ago, bro. Chill out.
Yeah, I mean, I have my ring. It's not rusty yet. I got it like maybe 6 years ago. It's not rusty yet.
He got his in his third year starting. I'm still waiting on Lamar. This is his fourth year. I'm just waiting.
But looking at this matchup with the Chiefs versus the Bengals, Rashad said the Chiefs are the present, the Bengals are the future. And both these squads, I'd look at them, they're kind of similar in my mind because, high-firing offenses, somewhat stout defenses, they have their moments where they're good, where they're bad. But they heavily rely on these offenses to go out there and put points on the board and make the job easier for their defense. And obviously the Chiefs are better at doing that in the playoffs, as we know. They have playoff Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. You look at all the wide receivers, any one of them can turn up on a play, get you a touchdown, 70 yards, 60 yards. And the Bengals have some players like that, but obviously they're also very young. And in my mind, I'm kind of viewing this as like the arising of a new dominant quarterback in the AFC because I have the Chiefs winning this game in a close one. But this kind of like defeat, looking at the kind of quarterback Joe Burrow is, this is like the more you knock him down, the stronger he gets back up. And it's crazy because he tore his ACL his rookie season. I thought that was like going to be like a jinx for him. He was not going to be that great of a quarterback. And now he's out here cooking, decimating every team. He has his moments where he shows he's still young, but he shows like he seems like he's wise beyond his years. He's playing better than what we thought he would be at. And it's just really surprising to see that. And just coming back to us in the previously, they're the future, Chiefs are the present. I don't think this team is going to be able to go into Arrowhead Stadium and upset the Chiefs. That just seems like the impossible for so many teams, and I feel like very little teams can do that. We saw the Bills get close to it, but Patrick Mahomes just did some magic. They ended up winning that game in a crazy fashion. But I don't think this week it's going to go to overtime like that. So I have the Chiefs winning this game in a close one, 31-28.
I mean, not only did the Bills play, it was like in a close game. I feel like they played perfect, and I'm not just like saying like, oh, they did. I think they played a perfect game, except for the defense, obviously. Kelsey wide open in this team. I felt really bad for Josh Allen. I gained a lot of respect for him. I like to troll Bills fans because I just don't like them. I do respect Josh Allen a lot. But for this game though, I'm rooting for the Bengals because I love an underdog. I love an underdog story. Joe Burrow's been an underdog basically his whole life, except for LSU. But before he transferred to LSU, he was still an underdog. No one knew him. I'm rooting for them. I don't see it happening. I think the Chiefs are just the Chiefs, man. It's really self-explanatory. Mahomes does what he does. Tyreek, I think their defense could be fine. The Cincy's defense, especially with Jesse Bates there. Mike Hilton made one of the best plays. Like people don't talk about that play. That play where he picked off Tannehill, where he just threw it and he got it. Oh my God! And Steelers fans, that was bad. Mr. Ellis. But I got the Chiefs definitely. I think it'll be close in the first half. I think Chiefs pull away. I'm gonna say 31-20. I'm rooting for Joe Burrow though. Rooting for Joe Burrow.
This is such a hard game to pick because I'm at a crossroads because I hate the Chiefs and I hate the so-called Bungles as well. So it's kind of hard to pick a team. I don't trust that Chiefs defense without Tyrann Mathieu because you saw how Josh Allen lit them up. I arguably think the Bills should have won that game, but they made some really questionable defensive calls. But it's really hard to bet against Mahomes. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but I got some faith in Joe Burrow that him and that offense can do just enough to beat the Chiefs and that defense. Hopefully they watch that Bills game and know what not to do with 13 seconds left and let the Chiefs do what they do best. And I think Joe Burrow gets the best of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Joe Burrow's been on an amazing year. He's easily comeback player of the year. I mean, it would be nice to see an underdog. It would be nice to see him in the Super Bowl. But I got the Bengals winning. I'm gonna say a walk-off field goal by Evan McPherson. He's been hitting a couple, but Joe Burrow sets him up in field goal range. I'm gonna say Bengals 27, Chiefs 24.
I got the Chiefs winning this game. I mean, personally, I don't like the Bengals, so I could be a little bit biased when it comes to that. But, I mean, let's say I wasn't biased, I'm still going to pick the Chiefs. I just think they're a better team. Sure, the Bengals have been hot like these past few weeks, but Chiefs will bring them back to earth. I see Joe Burrow obviously having a good game, throwing 300, 400 plus yards, same with Mahomes. I think it's another fought game just like the Bills and the Chiefs. I don't say walk-off field goal, I say walk-off touchdown. 4 seconds left. Mahomes just throws a deep bomb to Hill and is a touchdown. They win the game 42-35. I think it's gonna be a high-scoring game. So
Yeah, I have the Chiefs. I don't even think the Bengals should have been in this. Like it should have been Ryan Tannehill versus Mahomes, but Ryan Tannehill had the worst or the second worst playoff performance last week. I had each one of my picks wrong. If I were to go back right now, like that Titans pick was a lock if you looked at that game, the way that they were playing, they were outplaying the Chiefs. I mean, not the Chiefs, the Bengals. Like it wasn't even so. It wasn't competitive at all. And if I would go back, I'm picking the Titans again because they should have won that game. If it wasn't for Tannehill, if Tannehill plays average, or let's say out of the quarterbacks that did play last week, he played in the middle. He played absolutely horrendous and cost him the game. I don't think the Bengals are going to come back after that fluky win last week and beat the Chiefs, who did that last week against Josh Allen. So I got the Chiefs. I'll say 40 to 31, some garbage time points for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But I like Joe Burrow. I like the Bengals, but I don't think they can beat the Chiefs.
Props to the Bengals on a good season. I might sound a little biased because I'm a Ravens fan, but honestly, I haven't really been impressed with the Bengals this season. Their first good year came when the Ravens had 20 players on IR. Baker Mayfield forgot how to play, and the Steelers' whole team just went to nothing because Big Ben can't really throw past 30 yards. No shake to Big Ben. Respect on an amazing career, but I don't really like buy into the Bengals. Like, I gotta give respect where respect is due. Joe Burrow. I mean, on this podcast before, maybe he said some stuff, but he proved me wrong. I'll admit that. You know, he's resilient and he's a fighter. Jamar Chase, amazing. Zach Taylor, I love him. They have a great offense. Trey Hendrickson, they have good pieces, but I'm not really impressed with the Bengals as much as people like have them. Like everybody says this is a close game, but I don't think this is gonna be. I think in the third quarter this game is done. Um, there's a quote Andy Reid told Patrick Mahomes, and he said when things are grim, you got to be the grim reaper. And you know, Patrick Mahomes is the full embodiment of that. Like he's just such a great quarterback. You know, when it comes to the playoffs, I don't think anybody can mess with Patty except for Tom Brady, and he's out of here. So you know, I think the Bengals come back to earth. Like SA said, like if you watch the Titans game last week, the Titans dominated them on every single defense, special teams. I can't even say offense because Ryan Tannehill, I don't even know what he was doing. But if he played like bad, they would have won that game. But he was worse than bad that weekend. They didn't win. So I have a blowout for the Chiefs, 41-28. Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to say other than I'll have a few regrets. I said that the Bengals would only win one playoff game this century, as I said the Clowns would. I'm still confident in my Clowns pick. Impressive win for the Bengals, but I also agree they were outplayed in every phase of the game. And they were also outplayed in every phase of the game when they played Kansas City last time. And what happened is that Kansas City D went into prevent mode. They also had some injuries there in the second half. There was some things happened also up front. The Bengals were a little stronger. They gave up 9 sacks to Tennessee. They didn't have a ton of sacks on the season. They gave up 9 sacks to Tennessee. So imagine what that havoc's going to be wreaked up front with Kansas City. Oh, wait, they wreaked no havoc last week, which was surprising. And I think defensive play calling did have a lot to do with it. I mean, I agree with that. It was strange, right? Strange. As it also was in the fourth quarter of that Cincinnati game. But I think in this game, they pulled it all together. I agree. This Cincinnati team is overachieved, but congratulations to him and credit to Burrow. He's been better than I've never liked him, never been on his corner, but I've been wrong. So I'll eat it, as I will eat the Josh Allen too. But still think at the end of the day, they're going to have as many rings as they have this year, next year, which is 0. I'm going to go ahead and take Kansas City 42-17 in this one. BOC.
BOC.
Now, I will say my record in calling BOCs with Cincinnati so far this year is 0-3.
Been horrible.
Meaning not only did they not cover, but they won and embarrassed me in a couple of the games. One by 4 TDs, one by 3. So bet the house on the Bengals.
You know, the first thing I got to say is I need to get T-shirts for the Ravens fans that just say, I'm a Ravens fan, so I might be biased. I mean, all you guys, man, you can't talk Bengals, you can't talk Browns, you can't talk Pittsburgh. I might be biased, but I'm a Ravens
We
fan.
hate them.
No, I
And
know.
hate
Man.
is a strong word, and we hate them.
Hey, I gave the Bengals the upset. Don't look at me. Go look at it says in JP. I gave him the upset. So
Now I can feel it because, as FaZe will tell you, there's nobody in our division to hate except the Bills, and really you just hate the fans, because right now you got
the
to.
Dolphins who constantly own us, man.
Yeah, they own us, right? But that's just a given, and it's just a trip down to South Florida for the guys. And you said, look, you guys are going to lose this week. Enjoy the trip down there. We'll see when you get back. But it's interesting. You guys, excellent picks. I agree with the calls for Kansas City in this one. Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times, so I do give him credit for getting up off the turf and still competing. Running for first downs. Again, comeback player of the year is a great call because he was down, he was done, and he has shown good mobility in the pocket. I mean, it's been impressive, definitely. And since he's impressive with what they've done, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Mixon, I mean, they are fun to watch. But one of you guys said that KC is the present and Cincinnati's the future. I think KC is also the future. They're the present, the future, because you guys didn't get a chance to see some of those incredible Niners teams with Jerry Rice and John Taylor and other guys. I mean, running backs, quarterbacks, defense, Cowboys teams that did all that with Emmett and everybody. That's what Patrick Mahomes is doing. He is making everybody around him who are already great players, even better players. I can't tell you how many times I watched that sidearm throw that he put up last week, that crazy arm angle throw that he sort of bent the ball. He looked like his dad, who used to be a pitcher or an outfield baseball player, so just so impressive to me. I mean, that's, as a football fan last week with my team on the couch, it was just great to watch football and watch guys just ball out. And that's what that amazing game between the Bills and the Chiefs was. And so I see the Chiefs continue in that role. I see the Chiefs in a situation that's similar to what the Bucks did last year, but they don't have to go on the road. They're peaking at the right time. And I mean, you couldn't be any more peaked than pulling a game out with 13 seconds left. Something's on your side. And Patrick Mahomes, when you got him, you already got something on your side. So I love what Cincinnati's done. All the credit to everybody on that team, Zach Taylor and his coaching staff. But I think it ends this week. I see BOC as well. I agree with the 41-28 score. And I'll take the Chiefs for the Super Bowl for 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row. 2, 3. Amazing. Great run. We'll talk Super Bowl next week.
Yeah, it's nice to see. I honestly impressive that the Chiefs. It's probably, if they win this week, it's 3 straight Super Bowl appearances. But getting into our next game, we got, surprisingly, the San Francisco 49ers versus the, as expected, Los Angeles Rams in the NFC Championship game. The Rams are coming off a victory by the skin of their teeth, almost choking. What was it, a 27-3 lead of Brady? Like, oh man, that would have been so bad if they would have lost that game. But credit to the Rams defense for holding up against Brady, stopping their comeback. But look at this game. The 49ers, nobody expected him to be here. Deebo Samuel being an absolute dog on that offense, and that defense playing up to its potential. But then again, the 49ers do have the Rams number, as they swept them during the season. But I don't know. I think the Rams are a better football team now than they were when they played the 49ers. The past 2 times that they played them. So I think that the Rams have peaked right now, and I think that this is going to be a walk in the park for the Rams. I see the Rams winning. I'm gonna say it's a close game because these two teams know how to play each other. So I'm gonna take the Rams 24, 49ers 21.
The Rams are smart. They're going to get every advantage they can off the football field. I'm not sure if you guys saw, they limited the way you could purchase tickets, and they kept it to LA, like the greater LA area only. So residents in that area can only get tickets from the actual stadium. Everyone else from San Francisco would have to pay crazy high resale prices, because in the regular season, they turned SoFi Stadium to Levi Stadium real quick. It was all 49ers fans in that stadium, and the 49ers turned up and played an amazing game against the Rams and came out with the win. And the Rams were scared of that happening again in the playoffs. Luckily enough for them, I think that game against Tampa Bay filled this squad with confidence, more than they already had. They have a lot of players that thrive off confidence, like Odell Beckham, Jalen Ramsey. Both those guys are if they're confident, they're probably top 5 in that position at like any given week when they're confident, because that squad is full of superstars from every position you can name. They got a superstar there. But the 49ers, they're just gritty and they're tough. Mr. Ellis did it last week against the Packers. The 49ers may not look like the better team, but they're the grittier, stronger team, and they came out with the win against Isaiah's Packers, and which was shocking to me as well because the Niners played a great game. Like they played to their strengths. They didn't try keeping up with Aaron Rodgers. They shut him down. They played what they knew. They played to their strengths. They ran the ball. Kyle Shanahan said it himself. He scripts his first 24 plays, and he wanted to run it like 20 times those first 24 plays. He wanted to punch the Packers in the mouth, control the game, control the clock. And I can see him taking that same approach against his highest scoring Rams team. Because if they can take control of the clock, that defense can do their job. We saw against the Packers, kept him to 10 points. So if Kyle Shanahan gets his way with the running game, this could be I think this game hinges on the 49ers running game. If it gets going, the 49ers can win this game. And I got some LA love, so I think the 49ers are going to get that running game going. That team they have the heart. I want to root for them. So giving the 49ers winning this one 28-21.
I picked the Niners to beat the Rams in the last week of the season. I picked them to beat the Cowboys. I picked them to beat the Green Bay. I cannot jump off the bandwagon now. I've always had a soft spot for them, like ever since Jimmy G got traded. I'm just gonna sit up here and say that right now. I've always had a soft spot for them, especially since Debo Samuel carried my fantasy team this year. So definitely like more and more soft spot for them. Man, this game is gonna be really good. I just have to say, if Trent Williams, if he plays, I like it. I like their chances. If he doesn't play, Jimmy's gonna have a rough time. The Rams have to make sure, Sean McVay has to make sure that they blow this game open. They have to blow them out. You saw what happened with the Packers when they didn't blow them out. You cannot let this team like stay in the game because they're not gonna go away. They are not gonna go away. They're gonna stay in the game. They're gonna try their hardest. Like this team, I don't know, something about this team is special. Um, but it always comes down to Jimmy Garoppolo. Can he make that play or not? He did lead a game-winning drive last week, so maybe he shut some people up, but he still didn't play a good game. First half he played all right. Second half he was just begging for the Packers defense to get a pick six. I'm surprised that they didn't. Um, like I said, I'm not jumping off the Niners bandwagon now. I'm gonna say 23-16. Yeah, can't wait for this.
I gotta agree with Faison. I also picked the Niners to make it to the championship. Easiest upsets of the week, just easy. But I do got my softer spot for Matt Stafford because I have a point to prove to people that Stafford's legit, and the only reason he hasn't had the career people expected, he was in Detroit. So I just don't see the Niners winning 3 times in a row. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. In the past, 100 seasons of the NFL, only like 17 times has happened. And the
I
last time
remember
that
one of
happened
them.
yeah, of course you do. But the last one was in 2009, and it hasn't happened since. We saw the Saints 2 years last season almost do it, but then they couldn't due to Drew Brees. They couldn't do it.
I
I
think we
just
did it in
don't.
2010.
I just don't see the Rams losing this game, especially the way if I'm there as a player, I'm watching that game. They dominated the Niners, not the Bucks on every phase of the game. First half, just fumbles by Cam Akers, fumbles by Cooper Kupp, miscommunications by the defense to open the game back up for the Bucks. But when it came to Stafford making a play, he made a play to Cooper Kupp and he iced the game. I just don't see this Niners team doing that. They're gritty, respect to them, but they got too many injuries in that secondary. I don't know if Debo, Kittle, and Trent Williams will be playing at 100%. And there's a reason why the Rams got the stars that they have, like Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, Aaron Donald, and all of them, because they play in the bright lights. They make plays when they need to, just like in Tampa. To ice that game, Von Miller made plays, Aaron Donald made plays, Ramsey made plays, Stafford made a play to ice it. So I'm picking the Rams because bias a little bit too. I do also want Rams and Chiefs so I can prove a point to some people with the Mahomes and Stafford argument. So I'm gonna take the Rams to win. They'll dominate them early, but they'll let the Niners chip back in. And I think Stafford makes a play, or Ramsey or Von Miller makes a big time play, and they ice the game 30-27 Rams.
Yeah, I mean, I got a blowout. The Niners are good, but they're not that good to guard Higbee, OBJ, Cooper Cup, Cam Akers. They just don't have it in them. Shout out to Debo for having a great year again. Like their defense is good. Fred Warner is there. Like I like him as a player, but like Emmanuel said, they got stars. The Rams got stars that actually perform when the lights are on, like Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald. Like just good players that have good. They just play really well in the football game. I got Rams blowing them out 35-14. They're only going to score 2 touchdowns. Both will be Debo running it in. Other than that, Jimmy G ain't doing nothing with that defense on the field. No way. If he couldn't do anything against the Packers against that last drive, he's not going to do anything, especially against the Rams defense. And it'll be nice seeing the Rams play the Chiefs again. Back to 2018 Monday night, 51-54. One of the best games I've ever seen, at least live in my lifetime. Monday night, it was just a shootout. I mean, I hope the Super Bowl is that way. Sure, we all love defensive games, but I also love games where and that time they had Jared Goff. So shout out to him. I mean, he won that game as well because Patrick Mahomes fumbled on the 5 yard line. I don't know if you guys remember, but I just love games that does just shooting out. Like offense touches the ball, touchdown. The next offense touches the ball, touchdown. So, but my final score is 35-14. Rams versus Chiefs. See you guys next week.
I agree with JP. I don't think the Niners are that good. I mean, I give credit to their defense for having a great game. I think they'll have a good game this week too. But if you're going to trust Jimmy G to outdo Matthew Stafford, then I don't think that anyone who puts their money on the Niners and Jimmy G, I think they're just burning it, especially against the Rams, who prove they've shown up in the playoffs while many other teams, including the Packers, have not. Stafford showed up. If they did lose last week, you couldn't blame Stafford. You couldn't really blame Sean McVay. You could blame Akers, obviously. You could blame Cooper Cup for that costly fumble, but he made it up. But you could not blame Stafford because he played a near perfect game from start to finish. And I do think I think they're gonna blow them out. I don't think the Niners will put up that many points. It should have been what happened in Week 18 this season if they didn't make that comeback. But I got the Rams winning a pretty easy one. I would say around 38-24. I think they'll have a safe lead throughout the game. I really don't think it'll be that close. But Matthew Stafford is going to be facing Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
When it comes to Tom Brady in the playoffs, he always has these he has a absurd it's like some type of charm. It seems like I remember 2015 Ravens playoffs. We were up. That flea flicker from Edelman to Amendola. I think after that the game changed. You got the Patriots Falcons game. That fumble, Hightower sacked Matt Ryan. After that the game changed, and then it was looking like this. This past weekend, Cooper Cup fumbled, and then all of a sudden it's like something clicks for Tom Brady. He gets that look in his eyes, and it's like it seems like everything's gonna be over. To that pass over Jalen Ramsey, he looked completely and he was in disbelief. He looked dejected. And for the first time in a long time, it seems the team overcame that. Cooper Cup stepped up and made 2 amazing plays. And I feel like they're going to carry that momentum and beat the 49ers this week. The 49ers are a gritty team. I honestly don't think Jimmy G played as bad as everybody said he did. There was a lot of drops in the first quarter by George Kittle and just a bunch of other guys. I love the way they use Deebo Samuel. I think they have a chance, but I just feel like the Rams have too much star power. OBJ has found a new home and he's completely balling out. Cooper Cup, the best receiver in the league right now. Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller has been on an absolute tear for the past 5-6 games. So I think they're gonna win comfortably, 28-14 Rams.
Yeah, I think it's tough to argue. I talked about last week on the show here. One of the things I mentioned when I was confident the Rams winning in Tampa was that the defense was hot, right? And when you have a hot defense in the playoffs, you don't have to have a great quarterback. Ask the Ravens, Ask the Steelers in 2008. Ben didn't play great playoffs till the Super Bowl, really. So I think it's going to be an extremely low scoring game. It's going to be an ugly, ugly game. You always have one championship game that's really high scoring. So, maybe there'll be some garbage time and since he comes back at the end or something. But, obviously the Chiefs are going to put up a lot of points. So it's going to be the low scoring game. And it's going to be 16-9 is going to be the final. I think it's going to be extremely low scoring. I think Stafford is going to be ineffective because I don't think he's that good still. He made a great throw there at the end of the game. No question. But I'm not convinced he's the guy. I just think that he's the guy for right now. He'll do enough not to screw it up. I got them getting the win. But it's going to be a low scoring game. It's going to be an ugly game. San Francisco is going to come punching. They're going to come fighting. And they're going to fight hard. But this is a low scoring affair. And to me, I'm going to look at Stafford and say, I don't know how he won a Super Bowl. I just don't know how. I can't believe it. That's what I'm going to say by the end because I think they're going all the way because this defense is hot and they're coming in hard. They just seem to have a swag right now. They're going to be at home. It's a good story for the NFL. Established Los Angeles as a market for real this time when they blew the chance to do that in the 80s. This is set up to be a beautiful script here, ladies and gentlemen, but this is going to be an ugly game, especially because if you look at where people's eyes are on this being a high-scoring game. And that's where everyone seems to be throwing their eyes towards. And, usually when that happens, it's the opposite that happens, particularly in a game of this magnitude. And so all you have to do is look at the official who's doing this game. And I'll let everybody out there look that up. But that's all you have to look at. When you see who's officiating this game, that gives me everything I need to know that this game will not be a high-scoring affair.
I take it it's Hockley? No, okay.
No, Hockey League did last week. So if you did last week, you're not doing this week. That's how it works. You can't go. They don't do 2 weeks in a row. So
Okay.
yeah, they got him out. He was crooked, but not crooked enough this year. Like he just missed the cut this time. Dad didn't throw down enough this year overall.
No. Hey, Emmanuel, I got to ask you, what's the Mahomes Stafford QB thing?
Stafford debate. So with my friends, I always had this debate that listen, Mahomes is a great QB, but coming out of college, he wasn't the guy everyone thought he was. Because we can all be honest here, nobody thought Mahomes was going to be this the day he got drafted. Everybody thought it probably would be Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was the only quarterback that was cut and clear, was going to be good no matter where he went. Mahomes, it depended. Trubisky, it depended. Stafford, coming out of Georgia for Stafford was the way better quarterback. And a lot of the things Mahomes is doing now, ask Aaron Rodgers right now who was doing them. He'll tell you right now, back then it was Stafford. But nobody paid attention to Stafford because he was in Detroit. And people always blame, he had Megatron, but he never really had. But okay, that's true. He had Megatron, that's true. But like Mahomes, is not. He also has a coach who's been to a championship game 6 times, who has a Super Bowl. He has arguably a Hall of Fame receiver, a Hall of Fame tight end. He has one of the best left tackles in football, a great O-line, nice backfield, and a defense that shows up when it matters. I don't think Stafford had a lot of those things in Detroit. And he's showing it to you now. Now, he had his moments, of course. That just happens. But when he's been told to perform, he's performed. And even this season, he outperformed Mahomes. And yes, Mahomes started slow. It was still the same team regardless. So I want to see Stafford go all the way and win it so people can stop with this argument that Mahomes is just heads over heels better. Because I promise you, if they flipped and Mahomes went to Detroit, Mahomes is probably not the same quarterback because I do really believe Andy Reid. It was just a perfect match. Just Mahomes.
Well, it's like if Ben went to Cleveland. It's like if Ben went to Cleveland. Like if Cleveland had drafted Ben instead of Kellen Winslow.
Yeah.
Right. Would Ben be in the Hall of Fame? Would you know what I'm saying? But I think that happens a lot of places. It's about all the moving parts, fellas. You know what I mean? I mean, for any player, any talent guy, it's about your moving parts. It's about who's around you. Right. Would Lamar be as successful had he not come into a team that was already highly established that could insert him, that had a system, and granted they changed their system a little bit for him, but again, he was set up to be successful. So I agree with you on that argument with Stafford, but my reservation with Stafford is, his inexperience in games of this magnitude, and also seeing him when he did have Jim Caldwell as his coach, he did have Megatron, he did have some weapons. His teams weren't terrible. They were on the cusp of playoff appearances, and when it mattered late, he didn't show up.
Yes.
And his December record in particular, not impressive when they were a decent team.
Fortunately,
I would say
that is
fishing,
true.
though.
That is true.
I would say one thing about Stafford. Like, I really don't think you see, if you did play him twice a year, like if you were in the NFC North, I don't think you would hold this hate against him because he was the second best QB in NFC North behind Rodgers for the longest time. I don't think there was any competition. There was nobody came in and really
Nobody's
challenged him.
debating that.
But yeah, but that Stafford has held a high standard. And if the refs call that Pettigrew PI on Pettigrew in the champion, I mean, I think it was a wild card for 2014 playoffs. It's a whole different ball game. Dallas wouldn't be complaining about Des caught it, Des dropped it. They should have won that game. And they've been at the bad end of so many bad calls that you can't really count them like, we all say, oh, the ref screwed us. There's no one who could say that the ref screwed them more than the Lions fan. Nobody.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I
Somebody
think
said it.
Stafford went to any respectable team, any sort of team that had any slight of respect. I do think he would have. Now, I wouldn't say to the level Mahomes is, but I would say maybe up there. He does have a chance, but he would definitely be an easy top 5 QB each season with no question about it. If he wasn't a QB in Detroit.
I mean, the
So
reason
Lamar is better.
the reason Mahomes is standing out so much is because he's had so much success. Like he is a kind of like a Lamar in terms of he does things his own way. Stafford is like Brady. Stafford is like Aaron Rodgers. You know, like they have this elite skill level, and Mahomes has that, but he's got this little something else too, and he's in the right place. He's with Andy Reid. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Travis Kelce. He's got guys around him. Edwards-Helaire with just a beast last week running the ball makes all the difference in the world. But I mean, look at the Super Bowl last year. It was Mahomes against the Tampa defense. He was the only guy on that offense who played a phenomenal game. He was putting everything he had out there, and everybody else in that offense was zombie walking around the place. It just happened, you know, and so that sometimes that just happens. And that's kind of, I think, what you're saying with Stafford. He just didn't have the guys around him, and they certainly weren't playing at the level that maybe he was playing at. He was playing at a different level than they were. And so, you know, these guys right now, Stafford is playing with guys that are playing at that level. I mean, that throw he made to Cooper Kupp with Ndamukong Suh coming right down his throat, pinpoint. I mean, that was a clutch throw. That was a clutch throw. And so that'll be interesting this week. You know, great defense. I love it. I mean, I love defense. And I love the way the Niners just play defense, come hard. But then again, the Rams have guys when they decide to play, they can make plays. I don't know. Von Miller did have a good game, but I still don't love that trade. You know, I mean, they've given up an awful lot to do it this year, an awful lot, pretty much everything. And so they're desperate to get it done. And that'll be interesting to see, does that affect McVay's coaching? Because there's got to be some coaching in here, and still, I'll take Kyle Shanahan if I got to take one of those two as my coach. And so I just wonder, you know, I'm picking the Rams. I got the Rams. I'm with Mr. Ellison Storms. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. I'm going to go 24-20, 23-20, something like that, Rams, because I think they know each other so well. And unlike the Patriots and the Bills know each other real well, it's not going to be one of those games. That was clearly an overmatched squad, you know, against one that was peaking. So I think the Rams in this one, 23-20 would be what I'd go with. But I'll be interested to see when the coaching decisions have to be made, how it goes.
I got a question for you guys. So after the Bills and Chiefs game, there was a debate that the overtime rules should be changed so both teams have an opportunity to touch the ball. So what are your guys' takes on that? Because for me, honestly, I'm a guy that says defense wins championships. You have to rely on your defense. If they lose the coin toss, okay, sure. You have to rely on your defense and then, you know, make them make the stop and then get your offense the ball, get a field goal range, or get a touchdown, you know. But I don't know. I'm just curious on what you guys think about it.
I mean,
You
oh,
got
you
it,
can
Joe.
go ahead.
You got it.
I mean, I was just gonna say what Josh Allen said. Like, if the script was flipped, I mean, we'll be happy. Like, same goes with Ravens. Like, let's say we're on defense. Titans, for example, last year, In the regular season, Derrick Henry scored that touchdown. They came back. It was in overtime. Sure, I was pissed off that, hey, overtime should be this, overtime should be that. But like again, defense, like you're picking that, like there's a coin that relies heads and tails. Like if you didn't get the choice, now you gotta step up. Like, look, they got the ball, we gotta play defense. For example, this year, Baltimore versus Indianapolis. Lamar got the ball first. He said he was ready, but Indianapolis wasn't so ready. So we were celebrating when Lamar won the game, but let's say it was flipped. We would say, oh, Lamar came back, but we still lost, but give him some credit. But we wouldn't be giving him some credit because he lost the game by playing bad in the first half. So, like Josh Allen says, you just gotta win to win it. And Rashab said, defense win championships. Just play defense and win the game at the end of the day.
I feel like people are only having a debate over this because of how good the both quarterbacks played. They just fell in love with the offenses playing good. Like if you look at it realistically, the Bills had 2 drives to stop Patrick Mahomes, even 3 if you want to count the last 2 of the regular time. They had 3 opportunities to stop the Chiefs from scoring a touchdown. They literally blew a 7-point lead with 13 seconds. Pit paint branch out there, bro. I don't think we're gonna let that happen to any competent defense out there. Like the Bills defeated themselves their own head. Like they went on that field like, oh crap, we're playing Patrick Mahomes, 13 seconds left, Arrowhead Stadium. This is his time to do some magic, and they just out psyched themselves. Like they outthought themselves out of a trip to the AFC Championship. And I don't think the rules should just change. I don't think the rules should change. Defense win championships. The Bills choked. There's no debate on that.
That's one of those situations where both teams are so hot that whoever gets the ball is going to score a touchdown. This is 2018 Patriots Chiefs. Patriots won the toss. I knew that game was over because whoever had the ball was going to score.
I was just gonna say that.
I mean that's how those work, and that's just the nature of That's just the nature of football to me. I mean it's tough that it ends up in a sense being a coin toss at that point, but it's not always that way. I mean we had the Steelers had a tie this year. Sorry, Mr. Ellis. Steelers had a tie this year, and we had, the last game of the season, regular season, come down to literally the last moment in overtime. So, sometimes they go all the way through overtime. But I think we only have this issue when you have 2 hot offenses and somebody's going to score. So I don't think it happens that often, is my guess.
I think the funny thing too. No, you can go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I really don't think it's 2 hot offenses. If you look at the stat, I think with the last 11 teams to face in OT in the playoffs, the team who won the coin toss, I think 10 out of 11 teams who won the coin toss won the game. In the regular season, I do think it's more lopsided games where one team might be better than the other. In the playoffs, it's a 2 top offenses. And this is an offense and a defensive, it's leaning towards an offensive game now. You can't be, in a way, what I would say is, you win by scoring a touchdown. By putting only your defense on the field, you're already chopping one end off the team. So I do think we got eliminated from the playoffs 2014, 2015, back-to-back in OT without touching the ball once, and it was painful. And, to go end of regulation, Rodgers ties the game up, and you never see the ball back. It's heartbreaking. And now Josh Allen plays the game of his life and never touches the ball. I don't think that's fair. It's a 2-sided game. You have to have offense and defense. So you allow both teams to have both sides of the ball on the field to play football. I mean, you just can't put one up and say, good luck. I do think the way you win is a touchdown. So let both teams put their offense on the field to score that touchdown.
I mean, why don't you just have a 10-minute quarter? I mean, it makes no sense. Look at hockey. I mean, you make more money, more TV money. Like people be crazy not to do it. Who's turning it off? Oh, we're turning it off. It's too late. We're turning this game off. Get out of here. I mean, play the
It's
10
not
minutes.
fair, too.
Everybody's watching to the end. If it goes to another OT, it's another 10 minutes. I'm watching, right? I'm watching. I was there at the Crap Center back in '96 when the Pens played 4.5 overtimes and won. It was 2:40 in the morning. So it was amazing. And so, yeah, everybody's going to stay. Nobody's.
I think the funny thing too is when we went to Arrowhead in 2019 and Brady got the ball in overtime, everyone knew it was going to be it. At the end, I think the following days, the Chiefs were like, "Hey, let's change the overtime rules." I don't think they were like, Yeah, let's change the overtime rules. That's not fair. How Mahomes doesn't get the ball, and now the Bills are like, wait a minute, no, that's not fair. I think it's so funny, but at the end of the day, like I do think the offense should get the ball. I do, but the Bills in this case, like I said, the theme of this episode is I don't want to be biased here. That's the truth. But the thing is, they were the number one ranked defense. Leslie Frazier getting all these interviews to do that, to let Travis Kelce go open on the seam. I mean, I don't know, but I do feel bad for Josh Allen, especially for Gabriel Davis. 4
What
touchdowns,
a game.
200 yards. That's like
What a game.
some Madden thing. Like that's crazy. I do think they should have got another chance, but number one ranked defense to let Travis Kelce go up the seam. Yeah, incredible game. One of the
I
best.
mean,
games.
maybe they should go the college route,
Um,
put the ball
I
in
know,
the 25.
Mr. Ellis, I don't think that you got a chance to summarize the Steelers season. So I remember, yeah, everyone was talking about the college, how they should implement the college rules too. That was interesting.
No
Emmanuel,
college.
no, that's a no.
I just think you play the 10
No?
minute OT, man. You got to play
No,
the
it's
10
it's a
minute
no.
OT.
I mean, life ain't fair. It is what it is. I mean, you have 13
Oh,
seconds.
you're going that route.
I mean, I'm not lying.
But you play
have
all
13
that? You
have
like penalty
13
kicks in
seconds
soccer
with the
too?
number
Like
one
penalty kicks in
defense. I
soccer too
mean,
or something?
you
I-
got
I-
13
yeah.
seconds with like number one defense. You have 50 yards to go, and you let the Chiefs get in field goal range with 10 seconds left. First, they play a prevent defense, and they let Tyreek Hill out of all people get 30 yards off a screen at the line, and then they let Kelsey hit the seams.
But
If
3
anything,
timeouts. You can do that.
Even
3 timeouts,
before
you do
the-
anything you want.
But that's
Even
the
before
issue.
the
It wasn't like
13
a position
seconds,
where
yeah.
you could play a prevent defense. You just have to just play deep and have everything stay underneath you. They didn't do that. And then OT, they didn't step up. So you can't really blame. Like, I do feel bad for the Bills. They played a great game and they did everything to take the lead, but that falls on your defense. They didn't step up when you needed them to. The Bills stepped up. They got themselves back in the game. They didn't. I mean, it's sad it comes to a coin toss, but I mean, that's just life. It's not going to go your way. You just got to make the best outcome out of what happens. And the Bills didn't do that, and the Chiefs did. That's the reason why the Chiefs are playing the Bengals and the Bills are at home. I mean, Bills can cry about it. It's true. I mean, we had a couple games with the Ravens like that too. Raiders won the toss. They went down the field. But guess what? I mean, we ended up picking them off, but then we didn't execute on offense. We gave the ball right back to the Raiders, and the Raiders kicked it, and the Raiders got a walk-off touchdown. I mean, it is what it is. You can't do nothing about it. You just have to play when your number's called. And the Bills didn't do that. They just let the Chiefs march down the field and end it. So
Don't you think also though, if the Bills had timeouts before that, right, and had they worked the timeouts differently, they could have put a situation where there would have been no time left. And
that is
Right.
true.
and I think when you look at the game, that's being underrated here. People act like McDermott's this great coach, man. He does this all the time. Like, this is not abnormal at the end of a game for him to be out of tears because, you could have made it harder on the Chiefs. You could have eliminated any opportunity because if you could have called timeout, you'd be like, yeah, let me get another first down. And then they guaranteed not to even get the ball, right? So those opportunities were there already. And I know you're saying, oh, yeah, they shouldn't have been thinking about that. But you knew that they had 3 timeouts. You never made them burn one. You never made them burn one. They kept 3 timeouts with the 13 seconds left. You never made them burn a timeout. I mean, to me, that's the biggest reason why they lost the game.
I mean, that is true, but I don't think the Bills are really in the position to have the Chiefs burn the timeouts. And I don't blame McDermott for trying to score as quickly as he could. I mean, I don't think I think most Bills fans at home were thinking, hey, there's no way Mahomes is gonna tie this game with 13 seconds. I don't think they were thinking that. McDermott wasn't thinking that. And
he wasn't thinking it with 3 timeouts, though.
Yeah, Emmanuel, you gotta think, bro.
No coach is thinking that.
One PI,
no, what?
One PI,
It'd be
and
different
one
if you had
play.
you had an average defense, but if you had the number
No,
one
when
ranked
you have
defense-
13 seconds with 3 timeouts with Travis Kelce,
You
Tyreek
can
Hill,
do
Michael
anything.
Hardman, you
I
can
was
do anything.
saying that.
But
They
didn't
would have
do
to complete
anything.
2 passes.
Easy.
One incomplete pass a game.
Yeah,
And
didn't
they
the Bills
did.
score with 13
And
seconds?
they did.
Didn't the Bills
Yeah,
score
they
with
did.
13
Even-
seconds left? So, I mean, but
Even
that was an
before
unexpected
the
touchdown.
pass. Even before the pass, why didn't they squib it?
There was no reason to
Why,
squib
why
it.
don't they squib it? They
It's
definitely
horrible
Time
play
out.
calling at
Come
that
on.
point.
I was yelling that. I was yelling that. You got to squib that. 13
If they
seconds,
if they
three
if, the, they
timeouts, you can
catch
do
it, they need it
anything.
down.
And
They
they
need it
didn't.
down. They have the ball at the 40-yard line with much better. field
No, there's
position.
no reason
You
to
got
squib
Justin
it
Hill.
because
I'd rather take
You
the
know,
chance.
because
than-
here's the issue if you squib it. If you squib it the wrong way and it goes to the right guy, they probably get better field goal range with probably maybe like a couple seconds left. So maybe let's say they get to
Right where it goes out of bounds at 40.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say you get probably 40 seconds. You're at the 40-yard line with 10 seconds and 3 timeouts. Then you're calling the Chiefs. Then you're calling the Bills an idiot. You're calling Sean McDermott an idiot. So I don't. So him
well, I'm
kicking
not calling that because I
him
said
him just kicking it out of bounds was the smartest decision. Shoot, I wouldn't want to mess with those Chiefs returners if I was him either. So that was a smart decision for him. It's just his defense didn't play smart. Frazier did not make best calls. I would have just played everything deep and just say and keep everything underneath me. I mean, they played a little.
what
They played
Todd
too
Bowles should
conservative.
have done.
They played too conservative, a little too conservative, like it was a Hail Mary shot, but it should have just kept everything underneath. But they didn't do it well enough, and they practically just gave it to the Chiefs to score.
I think we can all agree that their defense was at least better than Tampa's defense on that pass to Cooper Kupp.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
100%.
I literally
we didn't
just
even
said
talk
that.
about that. I mean,
The fact that hold on.
That
I
looked like
got it.
Demarius Thomas in
Yeah,
2011.
Yeah.
Bruce
I mean,
Arians
it's
was
common
also part of the
sense.
coaching staff in that game that lost. So
The
Common
fact
sense.
that
How
they
you gonna,
called
like,
the
have-
timeout.
No,
The
plus
fact
how you
that
gonna
they
have
called
someone
the
one-on-one?
timeout before that play.
How you gonna have someone one-on-one
It's
with the best
unbelievable. You
receiver?
let Cooper
I
Kupp,
mean,
man.
the
Pitch
play
and
was
catch.
there. They
And
said it was
that's
a
Winfield,
miscommunication with
too.
Devin White. Devin White was supposed to come on the
How
blitz.
is it miscommunication if they called the timeout before that play? That whole team, Bruce Arians, they're just stupid. I'm sorry, but they have some idiots running in that Buccaneers team. You
would be surprised
against
how
Antoine
often
Winfield, who's like one of the worst coverage safeties in the world. That's
But I mean,
terrible.
think
yo.
about it.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
I mean, that's just also great time by Stafford.
Not let that
If that ball
happen.
comes out 1 second late,
1v1.
I mean, just result.
It is. I'm not. Yeah. Matthew Stafford is gonna make that play. Matthew Stafford, he knows how to. He's been one of the best. What's it called? I think the Rams are the best against the blitz this whole year. So why are you blitzing in the first place?
I mean,
think
it
Todd Bowles
wasn't. It
lost
wasn't
the
a
job
bad
because of that,
gamble.
because
They
that was-
got
that-
there.
that
It
was
just
good.
Stafford just
that
got
was
the
good
ball
play
off
call.
a
I
fraction,
wanted
a
to see an
fraction
overtime
earlier.
because I think
Because if Stafford holds on to that ball,
it was a bad gamble. It was a bad gamble.
No, I mean you
No,
have
no,
Sue
it's a
all in your
bad gamble
face.
because of what happened. The same thing
Yeah.
with the Ravens when they went for 2 against the Steelers. People can say it's a bad gamble, but for the reasons that it was there, it was a good gamble. Harbaugh said we lost Marlon Humphrey. We didn't have any corners. We only had 2 guys. Let's go end the game right here. But the play was there, just didn't execute. Same thing there. It was there. The blitz hit home. Just Stafford just he just got the ball off a little earlier than what the Bucks expected. Because promise you, if Stafford holds it on for like 1 hitch, he's probably getting sacked, and that's a fumble. And Bucks get the ball at what, the 30-yard line, and we're talking another 27-3 Brady comeback like it's like a Super Bowl 51.
Yeah, but we know Winfield. We know those guys. Those guys are not good in coverage. I've been saying it since last year. This secondary is terrible. This secondary is the sewer. I've been saying that. And the fact that Winfield was flat-footed too, he wasn't gonna make that play at all. We know Stafford's gonna make that play 100 times.
But
out
I
of
mean,
100.
even
I
if
don't
that
care
is
it's
true,
January, I don't care if it's divisional playoffs. Yeah, I'm
that
just
is
saying,
true. But you saw how close the ball
you cannot
was.
let
I mean,
Cooper Kupp. Cannot.
I mean,
let
it was
him
just
do
a perfect ball, perfect catch. I mean, if that's
Yeah.
1 yard off, that's probably deflected, and we're talking a different story. So it was it was a costly gamble. It didn't pan out for the Bucks. I mean,
Dang right. Lost him.
hey, how about? I
Terrible.
mean, it's a game of centimeters, guys. How about the phantom block in the back on Delton Hall, the 2001 AFC Championship game in Pittsburgh, which caused a re-kick that led to the kickstart of the Patriots dynasty, much like the Immaculate Reception in '72 for the Steelers. Sometimes it's a strange circumstance, but whatever it happens to be, yeah, man, it's such a game of inches. And look at Rodgers, right? 2011 playoffs, right? If you're Aaron Rodgers, that game at Lambeau, 2011, man. I mean, after you've won a Super Bowl, you could come back, right? You get a chance to repeat it, and then that was the Giants, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
That was a game where the
INT
whole team just fell apart. They didn't know
that
what to
just
do.
that INT
Have
at the end was just like, oh, are you kidding me?
I mean, you give up a Hail Mary at halftime to Eli
Yeah.
Manning at home.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So I'm saying it's like it's such a game of
that was the
inches,
Hail Mary game.
such
Huh?
Oh my god, I don't remember
centimeters,
that.
fellas,
I completely
centimeters.
forgot.
Fitz Toussaint, right? Fitz Toussaint, in 2015, Peyton Manning has one Super Bowl. If Fitz doesn't switch hands to try to get another inch when he already had the first down, but he couldn't see because Ed Hockley was standing in front of the pylon. You couldn't see if it was a first down or not. He was intentionally blocking it.
Flexing his guns.
He missed the first down trying to switch the ball. If he doesn't do that, Pittsburgh runs out the clock, walks off the field in 2015 in Denver with the win. Peyton Manning has one Super Bowl like Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, both now known as regular season QBs. Manning got that nice one at the end of his career when his arm was dead. I mean, you're looking
He
at Big
didn't
Ben
do
right now.
anything.
His arm was more shot than
Manning at 2015
Big
was
Ben.
much
Probably.
worse than Big Ben right now.
Yeah.
Nothing compares to
Yeah.
Manning in 2015. But
Yeah, agreed.
But he got one. I think he deserved it for his career. Like he
Well, he
needed
had
this
Clady, man.
got
He had
one.
O-line. I mean, he had Clady. I mean, he had an O-line,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right,
What did
boys.
What did Ben have? I mean, honestly, if he wasn't good this year, no one's saying that. But I mean, if you gave him an O-line, I think we'd have been a lot better. But it doesn't matter. I mean, we weren't winning anything anyway. Let's be real, fellas. We know the team that's winning, and that's Kansas City is going to get there. But look out for these Rams, man. This defense is hot. You never know.
What about your quarterback situation, Mr. E? Your quarterback's
It's going to be ugly. Well, here's what's going to happen,
looking in the
fellas.
draft.
It's no way. There is no way. Absolutely
Pickett?
not. No chance. No way.
Pickett not staying in Pittsburgh?
Faker Jr.? No, thank you, fellas. I've watched 7 pick games this year. I could tell you the 7 pick games I watched this year. This guy's not an NFL quarterback. Next. Of course, I said that about Joe Burrow too, but granted, he played a lot bigger time conference than Kenny Pickett played in. Okay, I'm sorry, that ACC is pathetic, ladies and gentlemen, compared to the SEC. I mean, it's not even the
Well,
same universe.
Kenny Pickett put up huge numbers against everybody he played, though. Any Big Ten teams?
Yeah, but some of those games were blowout city, though, man, where they were just, they had little garbage time at the end. I mean, look, man, we'll know this, right? We'll know how good Kenny Pickett is because the Pittsburgh Steelers see him every day, and they've seen him every day for 4 years, right? And they already whiffed on Larry Fitzgerald when they saw him every day for 4 years. So if he's the guy, right? If he's the guy, he's coming to Pittsburgh, and they'll find a way to get him. Even if they have to get real dirty and trade with Baltimore, they're going to find a way to get him if he's their guy. But I'm guaranteeing you that he's not their guy. Because their guy doesn't play quarterback. Their guy plays defense. They wasted $30 million on a guy that impacts 7 plays a game on defense. So the quarterback this year will be Ryan Fitzpatrick. We got magic to do just for you. And he tanked it in Washington.
Please, he never
That's
even
right,
made
ladies
it
and gentlemen.
past a
We
game.
already know he tanked it in Washington when he was in the crowd, right? In,
Did he even last a
in
quarter?
Buffalo.
You guys know how he got
right?
injured, right? There's like a rumor he got injured at a water park before the season
Bizarre
started.
gardening accident. Yes, like spinal tap moment.
Yeah, like he was coming down a slide and he hit his hip really hard, and like one like lifeguards chimed into a Washington football team podcast or radio station and told them about it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like you can search it up. It's like
Yeah,
there's a
all
whole
kinds of
conspiracy
stuff.
about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Ellis, if you want our picks, we're sitting at 11th. I'll take a wide receiver, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster. You know, you can
Well,
get
what
We won't have
about-
Juju, he's gone, but Deontay, you can have him. You have to catch balls in January, fellas. You can't look away like Chicago style. So you see him walking by, and the look is in their eyes on D. Deontay looks away, baby looks away. I mean, that's just it, man. Unfortunately,
He
fellas.
doesn't want to take a hit in the cold.
He
Those
doesn't,
drops
and I'm going to
against
take a
Kansas
hit here
City.
myself, gentlemen, from my children who are battling behind me. If I don't wrap it up here momentarily, guys, I'm sorry, but it's getting
No problem.
the Grim Reaper's calling. Boy, that was a chilling from Andy Reid.
That was a little chilling.
strange,
The fact that he had that ready.
Ooh, I mean
had
that
that
just, but it's also Andy Reid's life history. Like you look at that,
He's had some
it's just
tragedy.
really strange. Like something.
I don't know where he
something's not
got
right
that
with
from. I don't know where he got that from. Last week he was talking about chocolate cake. Now he's talking about Grim Reaper.
And then when he won the Super Bowl, he's talking about
a good coach.
cheeseburgers.
Yeah,
think
he's talking about cheeseburgers.
I think the
Yeah.
coldest nerves on the weekend is that kicker from Cincy who said, "I guess we're going to the AFC Championship."
Ooh,
Yeah,
man, yeah.
that
See, that
was
swag
nice.
is
That's
scary.
what you
That
wanna
swag's
hear.
a little scary. That is a little scary. Emmanuel,
That
you're gonna be the
confidence,
genius
man. I'm telling you.
if it happens, man. And Emmanuel was pretty much clutch over the years in making those calls, always getting the ghost pick. This might be the one. So we'll
Yeah.
see. And the whole city of Cincinnati will, all 900 fans in Cincinnati will thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I gotta go, guys. I got homework for school. I'm just
All
gonna
right,
end
guys.
here.
Oh man.
Your season's over if that happens.
That's
Hey,
not.
Having the D when you're
Absolutely,
lost.
before it even begins.
You're not bringing
Hey.
the pit to the palace, man. You're not bringing the pit to the palace.
Hollywood, AB, Rashad.
Hey, I'm
not
grateful
even
for the
saying-
malice in the palace here tonight, fellas. Grateful for the malice in our little palace here tonight, fellas. Good job,
Guarantee he
everybody.
calls Lamar running back by week 5. Guarantee.
I'll take it if he
Okay.
gets us the important wins, but I'll
You'll
take
take
it.
it?
But
Tell you, Brady missed him. That's for sure. He was missing him last week.
He did.
Oh yeah. Miss Godwin too.
Well, of course, yeah.
But to close it out, guys, this championship round is going to be really really fun to watch as you see the final 4 teams battling it out. Burrow versus Mahomes, and then Stafford versus Garoppolo. It's going to be really good. And then shout out to the OGs coming back: FaZe, Emmanuel, SA, JP, and Osezi. We thank you guys so much for coming
No
back.
problem. It was
And then,
fun.
Yes,
as
sir.
usual, I've been Rashad. We got On God, Mr. Ellis, and Mr. Woodward. Until next week when we cover the Super Bowl, this has been the AFC Championship coverage from PBHS Ed. We'll catch you guys later.
Later, guys.